Alright, how's it going, everybody? Today, we're going to be talking about Steely Dan. We're going to be doing a live review here of them playing Do It Again live in 1972. A lot of musical things I want to cover, a lot of ideas I want to talk about. This is a really great song, really great example of great songwriting. So let's get right into it. Okay, so right from the beginning, one of the most interesting and important things about this song is the keyboard riff. The keyboard riff is a very jazzy, Delta blues sounding riff, right? And it's very simple. So it's basically just outlining G jazz chords, right? 7s, 9s, 11s, right? And it can really be broken down like this. So obviously this is for keyboard. If you're playing on a bass or a guitar, you have to adjust. But in the left hand, this is for even if you just started playing keyboard or if you just started playing instruments, this is still simple. So in the left hand, you play a G, right? In the right hand, you just alternate from F, D, and C. That's all it's doing. That's literally all it is doing. And you see that C is the 4 chord of G, right? D is the 5 chord, and F is the 7 chord. Not the major 7 chord, but the 7 chord, right? In G. That's all it is. It's F, D, and C. And so you can basically play this type of Latin jazz rhythm type thing in any key, essentially. You could do this with C, right? You could do this with D. You could do this with basically anything. That's all you have to do. To learn how to play this song, just play a G and a D in the bass, right? G, D, G, D. And then the main riff in the keyboard right hand, it's just F, D, and C. And with the emphasis when it goes da-dun-dun, right? When it does that right there, that's just a C. That's just a C, essentially a C chord. So that's all it really is, and it's just highlighting the 4, 5, and 7 of the G chord. It's very simple. It's very easy, and most of the song is just jamming on that. You know what I mean? Most of the song is just staying right there. So all right, let's keep going here. All right, I'll say this real quick. Danny Diaz, one of the most underrated guitar players ever. I mean, he played on, I don't know if he played on Gaucho, but he played on every single one of their original records, including Asia. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he played most of the solos in the guitar on Katie Lied, which is my favorite Steely Dan album. But I think he played most of the solos on that. Great guitar player. He's not a household name at all, but he's a great guitar player. So I guess another thing to mention real quick is just the Latin rhythm, right? This song is basically just like a Delta blues, eerie sounding riff in combination with a bossa nova type Latin rhythm beat. Especially in the recording, the normal studio recording, there's a lot of Latin percussion instruments, and so it's just got that psychedelic, drony jazz sound because of the combination of the minor blues riff going on, right, in combination with the Latin rhythm. That's really awesome. So yeah, let's continue here for a second.
But they
So I'm pausing there real quick. I think one of the thing that makes this song so interesting, and one of my favorite songs of all time, is it's just a spaghetti western. I mean, that's all. I mean, I've heard people talk about what these lyrics are about and trying to get philosophical and blah blah, but really, I mean, Steely Dan has said it in their own interviews. It's just a spaghetti western. It's just cowboy stuff. It's, you know, Mexico, Texas, frontier stuff. That's all it is. And I love spaghetti western movies. I mean, it's basically a Clint Eastwood movie. You know, it's like Fistful of Dollars. You know, the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, with the hangman and the crime and the desert scenery, all that stuff. Yeah, it's just a spaghetti western. And so you have the Latin rhythm plus the minor blues droney riff in combination with the spaghetti western lyrics, and it just creates a really, really awesome song. I'll also say real quick, one thing that's awesome about this video is the Midnight Special, right? Like, there are so many, like, go check out the Midnight Special's YouTube page, because they have, like, probably the biggest catalog I've seen of, like, live 70s and 80s performances, you know, and they're all really awesome, and this is a really interesting, great performance. Just want to pause there again and say some more stuff. That's David Palmer, obviously. He sang a bunch of the songs on the first album. He was a really, really good singer. He sang Dirty Work, and he sang, Brooklyn Owes the Charmer. So those are a couple of great songs. And he only sang on the first album. He only toured on the first tour. After that, Donald Fagen took over most of the singing.
Jack, do it again. We'll turn it round and round. We go back. Jack, do it again. When you know she's no high climber, then you find your only friend. You know.
Another thing I always think about with these videos, it must have been so surreal back in the day, right? To like play on one of these TV shows, you know? It must have been crazy to like, and I always wonder too if they had multiple takes, you know? When you watch these 70s TV shows, you always wonder, you're like, okay, like, was this like take 4 or take 5? Like, or did they like put pressure on them to like get it on the first or second one? I doubt it. They probably had multiple takes. I mean, they probably had mess-ups, you know what I mean? They probably had misstarts and mess-ups and had to start over. Yeah, I imagine that crowd probably had to sit through a lot of like, oh, turn this up or turn that down. But it must have been surreal to like see yourself on TV. You know what I mean? Or have people like see you on TV. I imagine these dudes probably had like family members and different people like, you know, calling them and talking to them, being like, oh, I saw you on TV. That's crazy. So, another interesting thing about this song is the quick chorus, right? A real quick 3-chord chorus. I'm pretty sure it's a C, D, to an E flat chord. I don't have the chords right in front of me, but they're jazz chords. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Before we start again, I'd like to say something. One thing that's really interesting about this song, it really was a song of its era. Like, there were so many songs in the late 60s and early 70s, right? They were Latin based jazz rock songs. Think Like My Fire, Break On Through, Santana, Black Magic Woman, the Allman Brothers, Chicago, later Weather Report. There was so much Latin rhythm based music back then that was extremely popular and really poppy. And it's just really crazy how it's got the weird offbeat bossa nova, Brazilian, Latin American beats. And it's got the really weird, intense, like spaghetti western lyrics. It's not a song you would expect in any decade to be like a hit song. So it's pretty incredible in that way. But let's keep listening. I think another really cool thing about this video is that Jeff Skunk Baxter is on congos instead of playing lead guitar. He's playing he's playing the congos, and only Denny Diaz is playing. I think another really cool about this video is the keyboard, the vintage keyboard stack that Donald Fagen is playing. All the keyboards back then, so awesome. The Whirlies. He wasn't playing Rhodes yet here, so it's not a Rhodes, but it is like a vintage Whirly, and he's got a bunch of other keyboards stacked on top there. It's pretty awesome, but let's keep going.
Now you swear pick and beggars that you're not a gambling man, but you find you're back in Vegas with the handle in your hand. Those black cards can bring you money, so you hide them when you're able. In the land of milk and honey, you must put them on the table. Here you go back, track to it again. Wheel turning round and round. You go back, track to it again.
Yeah, you can see Skunk on the congos right there. Yeah, we'll stop there. This is a great song. So, some other stuff I'll rant on real quick. I've said this before, I'll say it again. A lot of Steely Dan songs are extremely complicated. I mean, try to play any Steely Dan song. It is like, it is a nightmare. Not as much their songs on their first album, right? Those are a little bit more simple, but even those, like, their songs just have like an endless amount of chords, right? Just an endless amount. But this one's nice because it's very, very playable. I mean, the hardest part is playing those jazz chords in the chorus. You know what I mean? But that can be figured out even if you're like just starting to play the keyboard or the piano. But just that, G minor blues eerie riff, it's just awesome. I mean, it's just a great idea for a song, to combine like a one note jazz thing, you know what I mean? That's highlighting the 4, 5, and 7 notes of the chord in combination with Latin percussion, in combination with really intense theatrical creative lyrics, right? It just creates a great song. And it shows you that like that's just a great recipe for a song. Just like strong rhythm, strong beat, and then like hanging on the same bass note, right? Rocking on the same note, but highlighting that with different notes within the chord, right? So it's just a great song, and I'll be doing some more reviews like this. I'll be talking about more Steely Dan live videos and just other music videos. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and check me out, and be on the lookout for some more music review videos. Thanks, guys.